It had been just over a year since my father-in-law's agonizing passing due to his long-term illness. His death had profoundly affected the whole family, particularly my mother-in-law, Sophia. In the wake of the funeral, the woman I had known for years seemed almost unrecognizable, having undergone significant changes. As life progressed, time gradually began to mend the wounds. The formerly lively and poised college lecturer in light industry had transformed into a mere semblance of her former self. Sophia, a vibrant college lecturer who illuminates the world of light industry with her presence. At 47, she emanates a glowing energy, towering gracefully at a medium height, her captivating medium-length hair accentuating her remarkable features. With a slim waist and stunning curves, she epitomizes genuine beauty, both inside and out. Despite the heavy grief she carried, she was even more captivating than my own wife, who also had an admirably slim and toned physique. As the months passed, I observed a gradual transformation in Sophia. While the pain of her loss would likely never fully heal, she appeared to be slowly reclaiming her zest for life. On one particular holiday weekend, my wife and I made our customary visit to her parents' home. After an evening of indulging in herbal tinctures and hearty feasting, we all retired for the night. My wife, overcome by the effects of the alcohol, passed out almost immediately. In my own slightly inebriated state, I found myself unable to drift off to sleep. Reaching for my phone, I began mindlessly scrolling through the device, seeking some form of distraction. Suddenly, an idea took hold of my drunken mind, an idea that I knew I should not have entertained, but one that I was powerless to resist in my compromised state of judgment. Sleeping was like glass, fragile and transparent. With my peripheral vision, I caught a faint movement outside the partially open door, but I didn't immediately pay attention to it. No sooner had I continued my attempt at sleep than the movement repeated itself, drawing my gaze towards the door. That's when I realized it was my mother-in-law, Sophia, standing behind the door. Despite the clear danger of being caught in such a compromising situation, Sophia openly stared at me, her eyes filled with a predatory gleam. Clad in a light silk robe, she slowly stroked herself, hinting that she wanted me to continue the illicit encounter. My drunken brain, clouded by lust and poor judgment, craved a continuation of this forbidden tryst. I knew I should walk away, but the temptation was too strong. The sea is knee-deep for a drunk, I thought to myself, rationalizing my decision to develop the events further. I can't quite explain what overtook me in that moment. All sense of reason and propriety had abandoned me. There were no more beds to be found, no safe haven to retreat to. Overwhelmed by a primal desire, I found myself rising from my makeshift sleeping spot and stepping out into the dimly lit corridor. To my surprise, the hallway was deserted. Taking a deep breath to steady my nerves, I made my way towards the bedroom, where I knew Sophia would be waiting. The anticipation and trepidation coursed through me, a heady mixture of excitement and dread. As I pushed open the bedroom door, there she was, my mother-in-law, Sophia, waiting for me with a predatory gleam in her eyes. That image, that moment, would be seared into my memory forever. Without a word, we fell into a frenzy of short but passionate foreplay, and we got down to business. Suddenly, in the midst of our work, I felt the weight of someone's gaze upon me. You know that feeling when someone's gaze bores into you like a laser. Like boiling water, I was stared at by my dear wife, who woke up from the noise in the next room and now stood in the doorway with her mouth open and a grimace of horror on her face. What the heck? You're totally drunk. My mother-in-law and I almost froze. And then something happened that you can dream of for 10 lifetimes and never get. Emma, my wife, having replaced what appeared to be a feigned expression of horror with a smirk, continued to stare, playing with herself. As we gazed at each other, the three of us came to many realizations, but above all, seize everything from life. It is brief and death is relentless. Having gone through it together with my father-in-law, all of us were able to honestly admit to ourselves that it is disgusting to leave life, and one should use every moment, every chance, and not regret anything. I was paralyzed, my intoxicated mind struggling to process the shocking scene, my conservative spouse groping herself with pleasure as she looked at my own mother and I entwined together. Time itself seemed to slow to a crawl as we remained in utter bewilderment, each of us grappling with the weight of our own thoughts and feelings. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I stirred from my stupor and gently released myself from Sophia's warm embrace. Rising to my feet, I walked over to where my wife, Emma, stood, her eyes brimming with a maelstrom of conflicting emotions. Without a word, I wrapped my arms around her, pulling her close as she clung to me desperately, tears streaming down her flushed cheeks. "Emma, my love, are you okay?" I asked, stroking her hair gently. She nodded, snuggling against my chest, and then raised her determined eyes to meet mine. "I'm more okay than I've ever been in years," she stated in a firmer voice, surprising me with the conviction in her tone. I thought I would feel shock or disgust, but some dormant part of me woke up to seeing you two together. I watched as a silent understanding emerged between the two women. Emma continued, "After my father died, we rethought a lot of things. The brevity of life, what's really important. Thanks for watching.